All right, so getting back to our conversation of the recipes and things to stay away from in the select recipe link, what else do you feel people need to avoid that may interfere with the select Budwig protocol?
I saw sugar being added to one of the recipes, and I would not do that. I would also not consume any peanuts. If someone wants to eat nuts, I would eat the good ones, such as walnuts, pecans, and almonds, for example. I would leave the milk alone, which is used in some of the recipes, and substitute with almond milk instead.
Are you talking about just buying almond milk from the store?
No, I would make my own almond milk. A person really doesn't know what's actually in the almond milk sold in stores, such as, for example, preservatives. It's easy to make. My wife Sherry simply takes 1 cup of organic almonds and soaks them overnight in clean water, not alkaline water, but clean water. The next morning, she puts the almonds into a blender, for example, a Vitamix blender, pours in 4 cups of water, and blends the water and almonds together until it liquefies, and you have almond milk. Then she strains, filters the almond milk through a cheesecloth or whatever to remove the grit from the mixture of the almonds and water before drinking. Then you can use this as the replacement for the milk in the recipes for Select. You can also put the Select in the almond milk and drink it. She keeps the almond milk in the refrigerator, remakes it every few days. So a person can adjust the recipe if it's making too much.
Well, that was a great observation in going through the recipes as it applies to the select Budwig protocol.
I just thought it might be a very good idea to check the recipes out.
Okay, so Mike, are there any rules on not consuming the flax oil and the cottage cheese around the same time since they both contain an electrical charge?
I think a good example would be that if a person eats the cottage cheese and flax oil in the morning time, say around 8 o'clock, I would wait till 9:30 before consuming the Select.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is you want to separate them by 1.5 hours or so that the body can absorb the electrical charges at different times and not interfere with each other.
That's exactly my thoughts on this. Around 1.5 hours should be plenty.
Okay. So I know cod liver oil capsules are a part of the Select program. When do you consume the capsules and how many are recommended when you're taking the Select?
The recommended dosage of the cod liver oil capsules, which come with the Select, are 3 capsules for each scoop of Select consumed. People usually take the capsules after consuming the Select or with food.
Okay, so if a person has trouble in swallowing the capsules, what can they do?
One way of swallowing pills or capsules would be to hold them in your mouth with water for 20 or 30 seconds, let them get a little slimy, and usually they'll go down quite well. Each person's different. If that didn't work, they could take a needle and put a hole in the capsule and squeeze the capsule of oil onto a teaspoon and consume in liquid form, or buy the cod liver oil in liquid form, taking 1 or 2 teaspoons of the oil per day. There are several different brands out there that are very good, such as Carlson's or Garden of Life. There are some others as well.
Those are some good ideas, but what's the difference between cod liver oil and fish oil?
I think Fred said it best when we were talking about this years ago. Fred referred to fish oil as adulterated cod liver oil.
What what did he mean by that?
Simply put, the fish oil has been processed out further than the cod liver oil, resulting in a removal of the natural vitamin A and D, which people need. That's what his comment was. I personally take cod liver oil capsules daily and never fish oil. It's just more effective, in my opinion, preventing the different health related issues. Our parents, when we were kids, used to give us this oil every day.
So when you were a kid, that goes back to like the beginning of time, right?
Really funny.
Okay, so could you provide some more detail on how people are actually consuming the Select through your observations over the years?
Sure. When a person receives their order of the product, they'll have to open the container. There is a scoop inside the container, which you may have to dig out, as the powder in shipment may cover it. Be careful in removing the scoop, as the powder is very fine and it will get all over everything. Just ask me, it happened to me. The Select powder or the capsule form comes with a bottle of cod liver oil capsules. For every serving of Select you consume, which would be a scoop, one takes 3 cod liver oil capsules. If a person consumes 2 servings or scoops of Select at a time, after consuming the Select, they would take 6 cod liver oil capsules, or with food, either way, afterwards or with food. Example, 4 servings of Select per day would require 12 cod liver oil capsules per day. I would not consume more than 2 scoops of Select at a time, and the person should build up to that. If you get loose stools or diarrhea, it's recommended reducing the cod liver oil. If you become constipated, you can increase the cod liver oil. So that's important information. Diarrhea, decrease it. You get constipated, increase the cod liver oil. 1 scoop of Select equals 1 serving. So the container will last 1 month, 30 days, at 1 scoop per day. Observations have shown that people who have cancer are taking a minimum of 4 to 6 scoops per day, and it appears that some are even taking 4 to 8 scoops per day or more, which can result in faster response in some cases, but not all. My wife Sherry worked her way up to 6 scoops of Select per day, 2 scoops at a time, um, such as 2 scoops in the morning, 2 scoops in the afternoon, 2 scoops in the evening. But she built up to that. Once she was comfortable with this, then she decided she would use some higher doses for 4 to 6 weeks and then back down.
Okay, could you give me an example of how she did this?
Sure. She simply added in 2 more scoops, taking her from 6 scoops per day to 8 scoops per day, and then added in 2 more scoops, taking her to 10 scoops per day, and then added in 2 more scoops, taking her to 12 scoops per day. She took the product, spacing it out throughout the day and early evening, 2, 2, 2, 2, like that. Some days when taking the higher dose, she could do 12 scoops per day at 2 scoops at a time. So, um, and some days she could only do 8 scoops. So she bounced around on this as she could handle it. After a period of time, 4 to 6 weeks, she moved back to the 6 scoops a day, 2 morning, 2 afternoon, 2 evening. It was just a short period, as I mentioned, to hit the body just a little harder for a possible faster response. Some people can do that and some can't.
Mm-hmm. So she was basically shocking her swimming pool, like the analogy we discussed earlier.
Right, that is correct. I know this can get expensive, so a person is just going to have to take what they can afford. Sometimes they get friends, family, or some fundraisers to help in the cost of this. Churches are a very good one in this area. Um, there's even some out there called GoFundMe that people have used to get the funds built up to help buy this stuff. Doing some Select, even 1 scoop per day, is better than doing nothing. After a person gets their health issue under control, I would always continue a maintenance dose of 1 or 2 scoops per day. If you don't continue a maintenance dose and cut off the nutrition to the body, the health issue that you just addressed will most likely return with a vengeance, and I'm referring to cancer.